Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. After the long introduction of al-Mantiq, explaining al-Ru'us al-Thamaniya, the 8 important points, the 8 principles of the science of logic, we now enter into logic itself. Logicians focus very much on the meanings of words and expressions and what they indicate, what a word indicates. When you express yourself in a certain way, when you say something, what is it that you are referring to? Are you using a word that carries other meanings? Are you using a word that implies a different meaning? Are you using a word that could be understood in multiple ways? Are you using an ambiguous word that makes absolutely no sense? When you say, رَأَيْتُ قَمَرًا يَمْشِي, right? Are you talking about a qamar or you're talking about me? Huh? You're not talking about a moon because moons don't walk, right? So obviously you are talking about a human being that you refer to him as a gumar, right? So you got a problem with that? You have objection? Good. So that's of course using the word in a metaphoric way, right? Using a word in a metaphoric way. This is what we refer to as what it indicates. In Arabic, we say dalālah, dalālah, right? Not dalal as in being spoilt as the Iraqis say. No, dalālah means indication. Dalālah means indication. You have al-dal and you have al-madlul. So when we read, we'll understand more of this. But the important point here to understand, for us to commence with the topic, is that logicians focus a lot on the wordings, because that's going to make the material, that's going to be the material of your arguments. And then later on, you're going to be laying out this material. That's why here, as you can see, it says the material discussion. Material doesn't mean the material as in material world, but the material means what it is that you are bringing together, what it is that you are using. And then you look at the surah, the form of the argument, the surah of the arguments, and that's all about how you are able to define it. Okay? So what I want you to do here on this page is you write that you are, of course, introduction, and then you are referring to maddatul, the madda, and then the surah. So material put on the other side, madda, and formal is surah. Madda and surah. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, we've got something called the 5 universals, al-kulliyat, al-khams. Al-kulliyat, al-khams. What are they? I'm sure you still don't know. That's what we're going to be studying, inshallah. The 5 universals. And then, of course, when we talk about the ta'rif or al-mu'arrif, that's when we are going to discuss the formal discussion in logic. Okay? Anyway, So again, another reminder for the 70th time that logic is all about moving your brain cells. It's all about putting effort. It's all about making sure that you have a good understanding. You only probably need to study it once in your life, and then later on you will have mastered it. But if you're falling short, if you're not catching up, if you're not doing your home reading or any of that sort, then you're not really going to get anything out of it. You're going to be like, as we say, atrash bizzaffa. You're not going to understand much. Okay? So you have to put effort. You must put effort when it comes to ilmul mantiq, when it comes to logic. Okay? Anyway, so in the case of ilmul mantiq, when we speak about the introduction, the first thing we speak about in the introduction to wanting to understand the concepts. So we are still in the area of tasawwurat. We are in the area of tasawwurat. So in the area of tasawwurat, we want to understand the concepts of certain things. Okay? All right, start reading, Hassan. The primary concern.
The primary concern logicians have is related to perceived meanings, which is why they put first certain discussions that relate to meanings in general and from different aspects, like how words indicate meanings.
Okay.
When thinking, it is difficult to obtain the meaning itself, or when wanting to convey it to others in learning and teaching, so humans have resorted to using words that have been made to represent those meanings.
Okay, so when thinking, it is difficult to obtain the meaning itself, or when we want to convey it to others in learning and teaching. So how are you able to convey information that you have without resorting to using words or expressions? You have to. That's how human beings communicate. Bless you. Human beings communicate through expressing and using words that represent those meanings. And these are all conventional. These are all conventional. Yani when I write, for example, this, it means ba, b, it means b, ba, sorry, for example, ba, right? What is there like a sensible, rational explanation to why the dot is down the bottom and not at the top? No. This is just an agreement that everyone came together at a certain period of time. Of course, we believe that Arabic language is divine, is special, right? But languages came together through communication of people, and they conventionally agreed that this is how it's going to be. It's like green means stop and red means go. People came together and agreed that this is how it's going to be, right? Is there a rational reason, like a philosophical reason to it? The answer is no. But how else are you going to be able to convey your feelings or meanings of certain things if you don't express them in certain ways, either verbally or by writing it down? Carry on.
Logicians study the method of the indication, dalālah, of words to meaning.
Yeah, what does this word indicate? What is the meaning behind this word?
And the meaning of indication and its types need to be generally explained in order to understand the reality of the indication of words to meaning.
Yes. So how are we able to understand this concept of dalālah, of indication, in order for us to explain the reality of the word and what the word is referring to.
One of them is to explain the reality of meanings, concepts, mafahim, and their relation to what could be confirmed to it, which is called confirmations.
Masadiq. Masadiq means examples, external examples.
And also the relation of the different meanings to one another when observing them from aspects that are confirmed to it.
Okay. The relation between the meanings when you are relating one meaning to another meaning. So, what kind of relation is there between black and white? What is the nisba? What is the relation between this? There's a relation of completely opposite colors, right? And that's why they refer to them as al-nisab al-arba. We'll be studying that as well.
Logicians also discuss the unity of the different meanings and how they are attributed to one another when compiled, and they explain the different types of this predication. These issues will all be discussed in order
of their importance. Carry on. Indication, dalālah.
Indication, dalālah. It was previously mentioned that the aim of logic is related to studying the foundations of correct thinking in its material.
Correct thinking.
And this is in researching the meanings. However, exchanging these meanings and transferring them to other people is not possible except through means of particular understanding that human beings are accustomed to, like language, writing, and signs. That's why when it does come to something like conveying a message, you're going to be conveying it through a language, through writing, through words, through signs. The most used medium in conveying concepts is language. This language is in the form of a set of pronunciations and words which made logicians turn to study the relation of these means and how they signify their meanings.
Signify? What did you say, Hassan?
So after that, one is able to control his or her understanding with others.
Right. Therefore,
logic.
What's wrong? What's wrong? He's heard them. Therefore, pay attention.
Therefore, logic studies the laws of language firstly from its general perspective.
Ahsant. The laws of language. Of course, every language has a different system. Every language has a different system. So understanding the laws of that language is very important. Carry on.
And secondly, it studies the aspects that scholars of linguistics have neglected, which refutes the argument that linguistics suffices in studying logic.
So, if you study linguistics, does it mean that you no longer need to study logic? Here it says no. Why? Because logicians focus on things that linguists don't look into. Linguists do look into language, but logicians focus on something more than just language, but meanings of language, the relation between the certain concepts and words. All of this for the sake of when you want to formulate an argument, you're using the right words, the right method.
Definition of indication: the transferring of the mind from conceptualizing a particular thing to conceptualizing another thing, having a relation between the two.
Okay, what is the definition of dalālah? The definition of dalālah is that there is a transferring of something to the mind. When you conceptualize something, you conceptualize something else. When that word is given to you, it indicates something. When I say honey, the first thing that comes to your mind is something sweet. That's called dalālah. That's called indication. That's called indication. Why? Because it's a transferring of information that you have brought together as a result of hearing that word, of reading that word, that this indicates this particular concept. When we say conceptualize, we're talking about understanding the concept. And of course, there is obviously a relation between the two. There's a relation between the dal and the madlul, the honey, and of course the sweetness of the honey that you have conceptualized as a result of hearing that particular word. Right? Now, there are different kinds of dalālas. There are different types of indications when you are thinking. What is the dal? The dal is the indicator. What's wrong, Ali? What's wrong? Pay attention, please. The first is called the indicator, the dal, and the other is the indicated, the madlul, dal and madlul. The procedure of transferring of the mind from the indicator, يعني the honey, to the indicated, يعني me thinking about the sweet, something sweet, is that procedure is called, of course, dalālah, is called indication. Indication. Come sit up the front. Come sit up the front. Okay, is called indication. However, the mutual implication between the indicator and the indicated is based on one of three things. So, this connection that you see, that when you think of something, this particular thing comes to your mind, this is called talāzum. What does talāzum mean? Talāzum means the necessary connection. Talāzum, the necessary connection, the necessary relation, that when you think about this, or when you see this comes to your mind. When you see honey, that sweet thing comes to your mind. When you see the word asad, what comes to your mind straight away? That wild animal, right? Here there is a Here there is a talāzum. Don't see over there, by the way. See in the front. سوينا ألف مشكلة وبلبلة. Where were you? صح النوم. So sit there. He's going to be. I think Ali, you need a kursi. Where? Where were you, lad? Yeah, صح النوم. So what was I saying? Talāzum. Talāzum means that there is that connection between you seeing the word asad and you conceptualizing that wild animal, haywanun muftaris, in your mind. Now this talāzum, this necessary connection, where does it come from? Where does it come from? It comes from either aqlan, that's the way you think, yani in your sensible way of thinking, that's how it's going to be, or by nature, which means naturally that's what's going to be the connection, or something that is conventional or made up. Green equals stop, red equals go. That's the talazum here. When you say green, stop. Blue, go. Blue. I'm confusing myself as well, right? Okay? So it's either this talazum in the dalālah is either aqli or tabi'i or made up. Okay? Now, how do we explain each one? So we're going to be explaining what does al-dalālah al-aqliyya mean? What does al-dalālah al-tabi'iyya mean? And what does or tab'iyya, tab'iyya is more correct, al-dalālah al-tab'iyya mean? And what does al-dalālah al-wad'iyya mean? Wad'i, as we said, is conventional, made up. Tab'i, as we said, is natural. And aqli is rational, intellectual. Maybe if you want to write that down on the side of 1, 2, and 3. So we have dalālah, aqliyya, and dalālah tab'iyya, and dalālah wad'iyya. Because learning these words in Arabic is good, because ultimately we're studying logic within the Islamic tradition, and when we go and we're going to be studying other sciences, we're going to be using this as well. So it's very important. Okay? Give him a pen, Khatiyya. Because of the difference in the nature of the relation between the indicator and the indicated, dalālah is divided into 3 kinds. This relationship or this indication is either aqli or tab'i or wad'i. Number 1, intellectual indication. Read.
The indication that is based on the rational implication between the indicator and the indicated. Like saying one is a cause and the other is an effect. The indication of daylight and the sun being out.
Okay, so when you see that it is light, this indicates that the sun is out. That's of course rational kind of, indication, rational kind of talazum there, right? When you see there is smoke, there has to be fire. Is there smokeless fire?
Yes.
Where? If you make a what? What? Clean fire. Is he right? Petrol. Natural indication. The indication.
The indication that is based on the implication between the indicator and the indicated being from its nature.
From its nature.
Cough indicating a sick chest.
Does a cough always indicate a sick chest? No. But naturally, that's usually what happens. Can you have a sick chest without having a cough? Yes. Can you be coughing without having a sick chest? Yes. But naturally, what usually happens, if you are coughing, then you have a sick chest, you've got a flu, right? So I just coughed. Do I have a sick chest? And number 3 is wad'i, conventional. What did we say wad'i means? Wad'i, as I said, means made up. And this could depend from one society to another society. For example, here, إحنا, when we give someone the thumbs up, we're saying, good on you, very good. But in Iran, right, that is giving, it's the same level as giving someone the middle finger, right? So here it's different. Conventional, يعني, it could be different from one place to another place, right? Here, when someone is mourning, a lot of boys mourning today, they wear black. In Japan, for example, they wear white. مثلا. It's conventional. Does that mean one is wrong and one is right? No. What do you mean, yes? All right, number 3, conventional.
Conventional indication. The indication that comes from the implication between the indicator and the indicated being from made up. And this, according to the nature of the subject of the indicator, is divided into 2 kinds.
Verbal.
Verbal. The indication that comes from the conventional implication between the word and the meaning. This kind of implication has different types, as one word could signify different and conflicting meanings, and this is called a homonym.
Okay, we've got what we call a homonym, which means mushtarak lafzi. A mushtarak lafzi means that the word is different, right? The word is different in their different words, but it carries one meaning. Did I say that right? No? What? What? Yeah. Multiple words. Multiple meanings for one word. Is that what I said? Or I said multiple meanings for one word. Is that right? Did I say it right? Multiple. What do you mean? No, you just said, what did you say? One meaning, multiple words. What? No.
You said yes to both of them.
Isn't that what I said? So why say I'm wrong? Google what homonym means. We've got mushtarak lafzi and we've got mushtarak ma'nawi. Mushtarak ma'nawi means that in the ma'na, right? In the ma'na it's shared, but in the word, in the lafz, it's different.
Same word, same spelling, different meanings.
What?
So one word, synonym.
Yeah, that's a synonym.
Synonym's the other one.
What?
The same spelling and pronunciation, but different.
Yeah, that's a synonym. Synonym. Yeah.
So, yeah, one word with multiple meanings.
One word has multiple conflicting meanings. All right? One word has multiple conflicting meanings. Right? This is called mushtarak lafzi. When you say bark, how many meanings does bark have? Bark as in dog barking and bark as in tree bark. Right? Ain. in Arabic, they usually use the example of ayn, because in the Arabic language, they say that ayn has up to 70 plus meanings. Al-ayn al-lami'ah, which is gold. Al-ayn al-nabi'ah, which is a spring. They call it a spring, water spring. They call it ayn. Al-ayn al-basira, which is the physical eye. Right? All of them are called, so gold, ayn is called ayn. Spring water, spring is called ayn. And what you use with your eyes is called ayn. And a jasus is also called ayn as well. A jasus. What's a jasus? A spy. Right? So this is mushtarak lafzi. Right? Right? Did I say it right this time? Okay. So, sometimes one word indicates one meaning and one meaning only. So later on here we did mushtarak lafzi. Later on we're going to do mushtarak ma'nawi. Mushtarak ma'nawi is the opposite of this. Mushtarak ma'nawi is the opposite of this. One meaning, multiple words. Okay? But also, one word could also indicate one meaning and nothing else, like the term insan. Insan doesn't refer to anything else other than insan. Does not refer to anything else other than insan. And this is called mukhtas or khas, يعني specific and specifically only for that. For non-verbal, inshallah, we'll have that in our next lesson. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.